A high-speed crash involving a stolen truck is being called a miracle when a baby was pulled from the back of the vehicle. And taking an aspirin a day may not be as beneficial as you think when you should put the pill down. Plus,
do Packers fans have pep? Oh, you bet, inside and out. We bring you to this pep rally coming up.
good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Leah Linscheid. This time tomorrow night, we'll know if the Packers are Super Bowl bound. And our very own Jay Wilson has followed the team out west as they gear up for the battle in Seattle. How's it going tonight, Jay?
Very well. It's raining, but it's a fine night indeed. Sometimes we take it for granted that we live in a state where the Badger football team is probably always going to qualify for a bowl game, and the Packers are probably always going to make the playoffs and be contenders for a Super Bowl berth. So sometimes we need to be reminded how lucky we are to be football fans in Wisconsin. This is what they're going to be playing for tomorrow, the NFC Championship Trophy. Packers defensive end Julius Peppers has been one of the best players in the NFL in his 12-year career. But with Carolina and Chicago, he's never played in a Super Bowl. But coming to Green Bay has given Peppers a shot, and maybe his last shot at fulfilling his dream of playing in a Super Bowl.
Some guys don't have that luxury. You know, you get on a team that's, that doesn't have a winning record, that's not playing for anything at the end of the season. It could get tough at times to go to work, but it's been a great year, and that's what I'm having the most fun doing, is coming to work and just hanging out with the guys and enjoying the preparation part of it.
4 years ago, it was Charles Woodson who had played a long NFL career and never won a Super Bowl, but did when he was with the Packers as they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers in North Texas. Peppers looking for the same thing. So how can the Packers get him to that Super Bowl? We'll have an optimistic prediction from our Jason Wilde coming up a little bit later in sports. Meanwhile, Peppers and the rest of the Packers aren't the only ones getting pumped up for tomorrow's big NFC Championship game. Their fans are now here in full force, ready to show the 12th man what they're made of. Danica Lewis was at tonight's Packer Pep Rally.
It is standing room only, inside and outside of the Mustard Seed. This is the place for Packers fans, and hundreds of them came here right before the big game day.
And I got the green and gold blood running through my veins.
A Packer princess packed in with hundreds of others.
Oh, this is pretty tame for us. We usually, on game day, it's going to be rocking. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Have you seen outside? Outside is insane. This is better than the Seahawks.
Go Pack, go! Go Pack, go!
Proof that nothing can water down the Packer spirit. Hundreds more made a gloomy day green and gold, waiting for hours for just a chance to get in.
And the Mustard Seed is our go-to place, except on this day. Who knew we'd be outside, but we're still here.
We have the best fans in the NFL.
And if the team's CEO weren't enough to get the crowd pumped, Packer legend Willie Davis told fans he has a feeling about Sunday's game, and so do they.
We win 24-21.
42-36, Packers.
27-24, and they go down.
I want them to come out strong. I want them to do the best football they can, and may the best team win. The team that wants it will take it.
Well, I guess there's only one thing left to say.
Go Pack, go!
Danica Lewis, WISC News 3.
Well, capacity here at the stadium is about 70,000, and the vast majority will be Seahawk fans, but there are going to be a few cheeseheads making some noise tomorrow, too, and we'll see if the Packers can pull it out and head to Arizona in the Super Bowl. Leah, back to you in Madison.
All right, thanks so much, Jay. And our live coverage from the Emerald City continues through game day. Danica and Jay will be at the CenturyLink Field first thing tomorrow morning. Kickoff is at 2:05 Central Time, so be sure to join us. Turning to weather now, our weekend warm-up is making for kind of a slushy mess out there, Bob.
Yes, but in the best possible way, as we are melting some of the snow that we have on the ground, which ranges from about 2 to 4 inches, or at least it did until today, across the area. Doppler track is showing, well, not a whole lot, but you can see where that front is by the position of those flurries out in eastern Iowa. So as that moves east, we will continue to see at least a chance of a few flurries, but any that we see certainly aren't going to stick on the ground. Plus, it's up above freezing at the moment. In fact, all across the area, it is well above freezing. 38 in Madison, Lone Rock, and Boscobel. 37 in Janesville and Watertown. 36 Camp Douglas and Wisconsin Dells. Those are all pretty nice temperatures for this time of the evening. Tonight will stay pretty mild. Our low at 29, and tomorrow looks nice as well. Variably cloudy with a high of 35. That's your forecast first.
Sports. Bob, a baby is safe tonight following a high-speed crash in Beloit last night. The suspect who crashed the car is in custody, waiting on charges. News 3's Valina Jones spoke to the man who rescued her.
After stealing a car from a local gas station, the suspected thief ended up right here, but it was what property owners found inside the car that was the biggest surprise of all.
I heard one bang, then bang, then bang, 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 bang. And it's like, oh my God, there's a wreck out on the road again.
It was a car crash like Gary Sminchek has never seen before, and one that is sure to leave a lasting impression.
Looked around and saw nothing, and as I was leaving, I heard the baby whimper in the back. I was like, oh my God, there's a baby in here.
Gary rescued the 10-month-old girl from the back of the truck before emergency crews arrived. 22-year-old Jose Gomez Perez from Milton was arrested at the scene. Police say he stole the truck from a Speedway gas station in Beloit less than 10 minutes before running off the road, hitting 2 pine trees, and finally crashing into Gary's shed over 100 yards away from the street.
You know, I think it's just amazing how God can put control on that. Normally I have my trailer in the shed, the propane tank's right where he would have come through and right into him, and which would have exploded and would have been a different scenario.
His wife estimates the damage to cost around $70,000 or more. But for the couple, the Friday miracle, as they call it, has no price tag.
I told my motto I live by is, if it's not a heaven or hell issue, it doesn't really matter. That's just stuff. I can get new stuff.
The baby and the driver were taken to the hospital and released the same night. And once again, Gary, the property owner, says he's just glad that the baby girl is back in her parents' arms tonight. In Beloit, I'm Valina Jones for WISC-TV News 3.
Thanks, Valina. Police say Gomez Perez is also a suspect in 2 other auto thefts in Milton and Beloit. Well, a memorial service was held today for a little boy killed by his mother during a murder-suicide. Earlier this month, 27-year-old Morgan Slate shot both her sons at a home in Montfort before turning the gun on herself. 6-year-old Jackson died that afternoon. 8-year-old Joey is still in the hospital. Morgan Slate died from her injuries this past week. She had spent time in a mental hospital before the shooting and was released the day before. The search is on for a man accused of firing shots inside a home during an argument with his roommate. Police are looking for 34-year-old Seth Hansen tonight. He took off when officers arrived at the scene. Police found 2 pellet guns inside the Janesville home. Anyone with information should call the Rock County 911 Center, and you can find that number listed on our Facebook page. Well, a shopping trip turns deadly today when shots were fired inside a Florida mall. 2 people died in that shooting, including the suspected gunman. Another person was hurt. A witness says the shooting happened inside the food court. The mall is closed for the remainder of today. And across Europe, police are conducting raids and arresting terror suspects. Several countries there have already rounded up more than 24 people. Officers killed 2 suspects in Belgium Tuesday who were planning a large-scale attack on police there. The government is now using troops to boost security and is taking IDs from people suspected of traveling abroad with terror on their mind.
These fighters who are going abroad, whether it's to Iraq, Syria, Yemen, or elsewhere, really do pose a threat. And so counterterrorism officials are taking no chances.
European leaders have not linked the latest arrest to the attacks in Paris last week that left 17 dead. A man is recovering following a hit and run tonight. The crash happened on East Washington and Madison yesterday morning. The 25-year-old did not cross the road in the crossing walk. He suffered a broken hip, leg, and head injuries. The driver did not stop. The road was closed for about an hour. Anyone with information on the incident should call Crime Stoppers, and we have that number listed on our website. Just head to channel3000.com and click on this story. Well, you may not need to pop an aspirin every day, according to the experts. People with a low risk for stroke and heart attack don't need to take their daily dose. Doctors looked at the health records of 69,000 people receiving cardiology clinics throughout the country. They found that 1 in 10 people on an aspirin regimen didn't need it. Taking an aspirin when you don't need it can cause serious health problems like ulcers. Now, who could forget the propane crisis last year? How things are looking this season as winter peaks coming up.
And then we'll actually see a bit of a bump in temperature next weekend at 31. Another chance of some light snow on Saturday. However, that one doesn't look all that impressive either. So we're going to melt a whole bunch of snow, not get a whole lot to replace it. We might have a lot of bare ground by the end of next week.
I asked you earlier tonight, are we still in Wisconsin? This is not a typical winter, or at least compared to last winter.
Yeah, on the whole, it's been pretty mild. We had a cool November. We obviously had a cool stretch here in January as well, but December was very warm. We've got this warm up here as well. So temperatures are at average or maybe even slightly above for the winter as a whole.
Definitely not complaining.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. Well, our warmer weather means the heat might not be cranked up quite as much in your home, but that's music to the ears of propane dealers. Producers say all their preparations before the big first chill have really paid off, especially after the shortage last year that sent prices skyrocketing. This winter, propane customers are paying around 40 cents less per gallon to heat their homes compared to last year. Well, still coming up, warm weather woes, how our heat wave is affecting those hitting the ice this weekend.